Now, Curaçao is a gorgeous Caribbean island just north of Venezuela towards South America, and we absolutely loved our stay there. We were fortunate enough that we got to stay a full month on the island as a workcation, so we got to explore the majority of the island. So in this video, we'll cover things like the currency in Curaçao, the best places to stay, what you should be sure to remember to bring with you, and just how safe Curaçao really is. All in this episode of Lucas World Travel. So first up, you need to know about the currency there. Now in Curaçao, they use the Antillean guilder, which is set at an exchange rate of 175 to every US dollar. Most prices that you will see around town are listed in guilders, but in Curaçao you can pay in both guilders or in US dollars interchangeably. If you pay in dollars, you may get your change back in guilders though. You can get currency out of any ATM. There are a lot of ATMs that have both guilders and US dollars, and there are some ATMs that give guilders only. But it's your preference whether you want to pay with the new currency or just use US dollars the entire time you're in Curaçao.
Another thing you should know about Curacao, when it comes to tipping, the tipping is about 10 to 12%. So as Americans, we're used to paying about 15 to 20%. So that's exorbitant in that area. So 10 to 12% is really a great rate.
The next thing that you should know is that you are able to drink the water in Curaçao. They desalinate their water, meaning that they take the salt out of seawater. So there's loads of fresh, drinkable water in the country. So you want to bring your water bottle so you can refill up as much as you like. You do not need to buy any bottled water when you're in Curaçao. The next thing you should know is how to get around the island. So our preferred method to get around is by rental car. And I recommend trying Discover Cars as your car rental provider. They have great weekly rates starting at $280 to about $300 a week. That's about $40 a day. So it's a very affordable car rental option.
So another thing that you want to know is that if you rent a car, gas stations only take cash, so you'll have to pay before you pump. They also accept US dollars and guilders.
If you need a taxi while you're in Curaçao, you want to download the app 24/7 Taxi. And this is like the Uber of Curaçao. You can use this app to order a taxi any time of day, and it comes directly to you and takes you anywhere. And it lets you know in advance about how much the cab fare is going to cost. So it's a very useful app. We used it to go to the airport and it was very efficient and we really liked it. Curaçao also has a bus system that you can use as well. The bus is good for taking you to several beaches around the island. However, it's not the most convenient bus system. Buses are maybe every hour and a half to every 2 hours. So you have to plan your day very well in order to take the bus. And it's not so good for beach hopping either. You can't go to multiple beaches in one day. Essentially, you have to take the bus to one beach and then come back to city center, because by the time you hop to another one, it's already so late in the day, you essentially have to catch the last bus back into the city. But they do have a bus option, and I'll include the link to the bus schedule in the description box below. But if you are driving, you can use Google Maps to get all around the island. It's very useful. The only place Google Maps doesn't work is in a neighborhood called Outrabanda. The small alleyways there are not well navigated on Google Maps. So you can download Maps.me to navigate the alleyways. But if you're not staying in Outrabanda, you don't even have to worry about that. That's just one small niche in case you're staying in that neighborhood. Other than that, Google Maps works everywhere else. Now you may be wondering about when is the best time to visit Curaçao. And really, any time is fine. However, Curaçao does have a rainy season that runs from October to January. So this is where it rains the most, and it's probably not the best time to visit the island. However, the island only gets about 20 to 30 inches of rain per year. So in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really rain all that much. So even during the rainy season, it's not raining every day and it's not raining all day long. So if you decide to make your journey to Curacao even during the rainy season, you should be fine. But if you want better chances of having sunny, blue sky weather, then that's going to be more in the time of February to September. Those are the driest months and the best weather months. As it gets into the summertime, still like July, August, those months are the hottest months though. And those months are the months where there's the least amount of wind. What's nice about Curacao, it's a very windy country usually, and that wind helps cool you off. So in months like February, March, April, it's more dry and it's more windy. So that helps keep you cool. Our favorite time to go would be during Mardi Gras time, which happens, it changes each year. Sometimes it's in February, sometimes it's in March. You would just check what day Mardi Gras is going to fall the current year. And then you can come 7 days before that to enjoy all the different parades. They have a kids parade, they have a teenage parade, they have the main adult parade that's usually the day of and a few days before. And it's really nice to experience Curacao during that time because not only do you get to enjoy the beaches, enjoy the city, you also get to enjoy this cultural event that's just full of color and full of fun. So, in my opinion, carnival time is the best time to come to Curaçao. Another thing you should know before you go to Curaçao is where to stay. Now, the best place to stay, in my opinion, is in the capital city of Williamstad. We love staying there because the city is so vibrant. It has loads of delicious restaurants to eat at and just a great vibe with nightlife and just seeing the bridge lit up at night is gorgeous. And then during the day, we would take day trips out to the beaches. And it's nice because from Williamstad, you're so central, you can go either to the east side or the west side of the island. So it can take 45 minutes to an hour to get to the best beaches out on the west side. Only takes about 30 minutes to get to the beaches on the east side of the island. So I do like it for being centrally located. The best neighborhood would be the Punda neighborhood, but you can also stay in Otra Banda, which is nice as well. That's where we stayed, and more locals live there, so you get more of a local vibe. However, if you're really into the beaches only and the nature, then you want to stay on that west side of the island and West Punt. And that way you can have easier access to all the beaches, the snorkeling, and the national parks. Or you can do a combination of both where you get a sample of the city life for a couple of nights, or then go stay out in West Punt so you can have a few days to enjoy the beaches, the national parks, and all of the wonderful things that exist out there.
Another thing you want to know is that the people there in Curacao speak multiple languages. The local language is Papiamento, but there are several people that speak other languages as well. So they have multiple languages that they speak. They speak Papiamento, they speak Dutch, they speak English, and they also speak Spanish. But in some situations, they have people who actually speak 5, 6 languages. I've met a couple of people like that. So you're gonna feel very comfortable because these folks speak so many different languages that you're not gonna feel at a loss to communicate with people there.
Yes, there's only a few occasions where we met people who didn't speak any English. So they only spoke the local language and maybe another language. So in general, you're always going to be able to find at least one person in any establishment who speaks English. So it's very easy to communicate with people in Curacao. The next important thing you need to know is what to eat when you go to Curacao. So they have several different local specialties that we really enjoyed trying. For me, it was the queshiena. I had this in Aruba as well, and it's just absolutely delicious. It's a chicken stew and a nice gravy with rice on top and Gouda cheese melted on top. It is so delicious, both in Aruba and Curacao. It's like my favorite thing. I wish I could have it all the time. So definitely try that when you see it on the menu. And when you go to the old market for lunch, if you want to be adventurous, try the iguana stew. It's a very unique experience. It was way more tasty than I thought it would be. And I just enjoy trying new foods like that. So I can highly recommend those when you're in Curacao.
Another thing you want to know is what to bring on your trip to Curacao. Because you're going to be going to beaches and different other types of events, you definitely want to bring some water shoes because some of the beaches are rocky. You want to bring plenty of sunscreen because there's so many days of sun there. And it's wonderful to know that the weather is mostly great. You also want to bring snorkels. So if you like to snorkel as much as we do, it's best to bring your own snorkels. That way you know that you have them because sometimes they're just not available and they're not provided. So if you like to snorkel on the beaches, if that's one of your pastimes, go ahead and bring your own and you'll feel comfortable everywhere you go. Definitely bring hats and sunglasses, anything that you feel that you might need to make you feel comfortable in the sun because it gets really hot at times.
And you may be wondering just how safe Curacao is. And you'll be happy to know that the U.S. State Department rates it as a level 1 country, which is one of the safest levels that you can be at. So just use your ordinary precautions, nothing special. Curacao is a very safe country. It's a lot safer than where we're from in Nashville, Tennessee. So we always like to look at the crime statistics. Now, there is crime in Curacao, don't get me wrong, but compared to where we're from, the numbers are much lower, even when you adjust for how big the population is. If you look at this chart, you can see that the crime statistics have steadily decreased over the years in Curaçao. And with its population of 150,000 people, I still find these statistics to be relatively low. When you compare that to where we're from, with 600,000 people, our numbers are much higher, even when you take into account population size. You can feel very comfortable there. I know we did. We didn't have any issues and we felt very safe just swimming, leaving our stuff on the beach. Nothing happened. Another thing that you should know before you go to Curaçao is the outlets that they use. They use the standard North American outlet with 2 prongs. So if you're coming from the US or Canada, you don't have to worry about bringing any adapters with you. However, if you're coming from Europe, you will need those flat 2-prong pins in order to use the electricity there.
So another thing that you want to know is that there is an immigration card that you will want to complete up to 7 days before your departure. And if you don't have a copy of that, there will be a link below this video for the online form.
All right, world travelers, did we forget anything? If you have any other Curacao tips for your fellow travelers, leave those in the comments below. And if you'd like even more tips about things to do in Williamstad, restaurants to eat at, and the best beaches in Curacao, check out our full Curacao playlist on the right there. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for even more great travel tips from the Caribbean and from all around the world. All right, world travelers, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for sharing with all your travel buddies. And happy travel planning. Until next time.